Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of the harvest season. My name is Al,
And my name is Bev.
and we are here today to talk about farming games.
Woo!
Welcome, Bev. Always good to have you here.
Always good to be here. Yep.
Today, we are going to talk about Atomicrops. Spooky Atomicrops.
The Halloween episode.
This is look. This is the most you get out of me, Halloweeny. I'm not a Halloweeny person, right? So I made the ghost noise. We're talking about a game that's creepy. That's about it.
Yeah, but
That's the most
it
you
works.
get.
It applies. And there aren't many farming style games that I think would fall into a Halloween-esque like. I mean, there are. I could definitely think of a few of them, like Graveyard Keeper, but I haven't actually played Graveyard Keeper. But still,
Is that the one?
like
Is that the one we
Atomicrops
did
is
2
like,
years ago that Rochelle taught? And I
think
was just
so.
kind of along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
I did not play that
I
game.
think so.
Fair enough.
Like, I think I own it. I just haven't
Oh.
got around to playing it.
That sounds about right. Owning a game that you've not
Yep.
played.
Exactly.
So yeah, we are going to talk about Atomicrops. Finally, this game's been out for
Mhm.
what, a year or something.
I think so. We've been trying to put it off, I think, as long as.
we were trying to decide exactly what to do for this episode, and eventually we were like, it has to be Atomicrops, doesn't it? That's what we're going to end up doing. And both of us were like, okay, fine, we'll do it. We've put it off long enough. It's time to cover Atomicrops. Obviously, before that, we will have a bunch of news. But first of all, Bev, what have you been playing?
I've gone back into the habit of playing multiple things at once, which is great and not great at the same time. So I've been playing Animal Crossing for a while, and I've been keeping that up because so I started my island over a few months ago, so I've been maintaining it since then for the most part.
Okay.
So not related to other things we may talk about later. And let's see what else. I got Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town.
Woo.
So I got hooked into like the sale that happened and the free demo, and I'm doing that now. Playing that a little bit. I got back into Ooblets as well, which is fun since they do have a Halloween. I want to say an event, but they have like a Halloween section.
No, it is an event. It's only live during October,
I suppose, but there's like not that I can see. There isn't like anything to do with it other than buying stuff currently. But maybe it will become like a thing. Like,
have you got the most
feels a
recent
little bit
update?
more
Because there
than,
was
like-
an update like last week that added some
I don't
more.
know if I automatically downloaded it. So I saw that there was one, and like when I booted it up, I saw that there was like a new like news about the update or like a new update screen, but I didn't see any changes in the game yet. So I might still need to update it.
I
We'll
lose
see.
track, honestly. We don't talk about all updates to all games here, but I've lost track.
There's a
as to-
lot going on.
There is.
And let's see. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey as well, which is not everything else is like farming related other than Assassins. And doing a Pokemon Nuzlocke of Pokemon Y, and I think that's the extent of it currently.
Fair enough.
How about you?
Yes. What have I been? Obviously, I've been playing Atomicrops. I don't think I've been playing much other than that. I've been thinking about playing games quite a lot. I started playing Sonic Colors Ultimate. Don't like it.
Okay.
I mean, it's fine, but like everybody seems to say like it's a great 3D Sonic. I just like it's just as bad as all the other 3D Sonics I find. It's not. It doesn't. I don't know whether it's just my brain or not, but it doesn't work with my brain. Like the switching between like different perspectives. What are my hands meant to do when I'm switching between going left to right and going forwards and backwards, right? Like my hand doesn't know whether it's meant to just stay or whether it's meant to change what it's doing. It gets so confused at that point. And I think one of the things about 3D Sonics is you're constantly like trying to move left and right in the kind of front on third person perspective, I guess, rather than the side on perspective to get the coins. And it's like that. It's you're just constantly slowing down. And then there's like these weird platforming sections, which Sonic is not a platformer. He is not good at platforms, right? He goes fast, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't get why those games have to do these weird platforming sections because it's not fun. He doesn't do it well. He doesn't control well for that. And I don't like. So I might keep trying. I might give up. I don't know, whatever. I bought it physically so I can sell it.
Very good. Very good.
Um
Yeah, I've never played a Sonic game, so I don't quite know all those mechanics, but yeah, it doesn't sound all that great.
yeah. What else? Pokemon Go as usual, obviously. I
I
think
need
that's
to get back
probably
into
about it.
that.
I've done a lot of the
Maybe I
Halloween
will.
event this weekend.
I opened it up, I think, when I first saw that Halloween started, and then immediately forgot again.
I have so far done 15 Darkrai raids in Knockout. So how much
Nice.
more time will I spend on these?
I don't
We'll
know.
see. We'll see. Yeah, I think that's probably about it. It's been an interesting couple weeks, so but I have lots of plans for the next few weeks.
Indeed.
Speaking of which, shall we talk about some news?
Yes.
So there's a wee bit of news. We're gonna start off. They're kind of two big bits of news, right? And I'm sure you listeners all know exactly what they are, but we're gonna bookend our news with them. So we're gonna start with one of the big bits, and we're gonna end with one of the big bits, and then there's gonna be the smaller bits in the middle.
It's a sandwich, a news sandwich.
A news sandwich, exactly. So, or fun fact, in Scotland, sandwich can also be said piece. A piece is a sandwich.
What? Peas?
Yeah, piece.
Really?
Just like Piece. Piece.
I've
He's
never
a
heard of that before.
he's a cheese piece, or a piece and cheese.
I love that.
Anyway, it's not important. So it's a news piece,
No.
a piece and news. The first piece of news is that we have a new update to Animal Crossing coming, and the first paid DLC. I say the first, like there's going to be more. We've no idea if there's going to be more, but it is a paid DLC as well.
Well,
where do we start with this? So I guess first of all, let's start with we're not going to talk about this for ages. And the reason why we're not going to talk in depth about this is because we have an upcoming episode about the Animal Crossing update. And so I don't want to spend like half an hour talking about the game just now for us to then, in an episode or two be covering the game as our main topic. So we will cover this update and the DLC in great detail, don't you worry. But Bev, what do you think?
I don't know about you, but when I was watching this video, like the Animal Crossing, goodness, what is it called?
Direct.
Yes, direct. I feel like I was just overcome with so much excitement. I was just screaming and just gasping, and I feel like I was losing my marbles a little bit watching it, because I was just so excited. It's like everything that except for two things maybe, everything that I've wanted to see in here, except for a handful of things. But just
it went from everything to just a handful of things to a couple of things to a handful of things.
Well, because I just remembered a few things which I may or may not actually say now, that I wish they would have at least confirmed or announced, but I'm assuming it's not going to make it.
I think I'd assume at this point that there's like, I wouldn't expect anything more. I mean, maybe it depends on how successful the DLC is. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure, but like I wouldn't be expecting anything else other than maybe.
I believe they have announced that they wouldn't be anything else after this.
They've said that this update is the last free update or the last major free update. They haven't said that they haven't said it's the last update. Full stop.
I could have sworn. So I know that they definitely did that during the direct. They definitely said this was the last free update. But I think also read some other like other articles after that that also indicated that they were done. I could
Okay.
be wrong, and now I want to like
Oh
look this
yeah, so
up.
it does look like they've also said that there won't be another DLC either.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo has
Which is
confirmed to
like,
IGN that Animal Crossing's New Horizons version 2.0 and its Happy Home DLC will be the final major updates. Right. See that is different from what they said in the direct.
mm-hmm. Although like the way they said it was like very alarming. Like the last free update.
Yeah.
So like it definitely lends itself to that was just I think poor communication there. But it definitely lends to like, oh, so there might be another paid
That's
DLC.
that's exactly what I was assuming, that there might be another paid DLC, but
Mm-hmm.
no more free one.
I could see how they would want to spend time working on another game, or even start looking, to the next Animal Crossing because it's 2021 now. It's been over a year and a half, definitely, since it came out. So I could definitely see how they would want to start focusing on other things, especially now that they've already made all these models within like Switch.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
can. It might be an
I
easier time and won't take
yeah.
20 years.
I guess that's an interesting thing, right? So if they make another game which kind of uh is similar or kind of based on the code, that would work with what they've
Hmm.
said. Like that isn't a free update or a paid DLC, that is a new game.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
Hmm. So maybe since you're gonna cover all of the stuff in the next, or maybe not the next, but in a future show, or future episode, maybe we could talk about what we wish, like the few things we wish we would have saw in
Yeah,
it.
just
Then
before
that
we
we're not.
Yeah, just
Hmm.
before we do that, I do want to point out two of the features in that we will be getting more crops for farming, and the
Hmm.
cooking is coming. So we kind of discussed these before about whether or
Hmm.
not they might be coming. There were kind of hints in the code that they might be coming,
Hmm.
and yeah, we are having them. So those, I just kind of wanted to. We're obviously not going to talk about them in detail just now. We will do that in the future episode, but I just wanted
Hmm.
to make it clear to people, obviously, because we are a farming game podcast, the farming is going to be much more expansive. So if that's something that you've been kind of holding off on, then that is coming. And
Hmm.
the update and the DLC are both coming on the 5th of November.
Hmm.
Obviously, the update is free, and the DLC you can either purchase for, I think it's like, is it $20? I think roughly
It's
convert
25.
25, convert into whatever your local currency is, and
Hmm.
or if you have the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, which is the
Hmm.
one that includes N64 and what's the other one? N64
Uh,
and Sega Mega Drive games.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, that will also include the DLC. Um,
Hmm.
so if you have that, you don't need to buy it. But obviously, if you prefer to just buy it or you don't want the expansion pack, then that is what it is.
Hmm.
So I just wanted
And
to cover that before we talk
that's
about
good. And I
other
like do
stuff.
want to comment on that too, because I this was definitely like my question to how it worked. So
Mm.
if you purchase the expansion pack or the plus that was Ultra Plus, but whatever Switch
Nintendo Switch
Online,
Online Plus expansion pack is
yes,
officially.
plus expansion pack,
I know
and
it's
decide
the
to
worst name possible.
uh-huh, and then decide to switch down to a lower tier again, you will lose access to the game, but you will maintain some of the features, and
Yeah,
I'm
there's
sure
some
we'll.
things you unlock in the main
Yeah.
game from the DLC, and
Hmm.
you don't lose those if you don't have access to them.
Yeah. So that's, I guess, one way to do it for like, if you have a large family who all wants access to that. That could
Yeah,
be like a cost-effective
yeah,
way.
yeah, definitely,
Hmm.
definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what were the things you were thinking of that aren't in this update that you're disappointed about or would
Uh,
prefer if they were
so one of them is farming related. So I'm surprised. I get maybe not too surprised, but I was really hoping there would be something about upgrading your like watering can or having sprinklers if we're going to do
Yes.
farming.
Yeah.
Like I want to farm, but I also like automating stuff and having a if I wanted to do like a huge field of crops, which I'm probably not going to do it because I don't enjoy watering all that much. It would have been nice to include that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
agree.
yeah.
I should note that I suspect there are a few small things that are in the update that they haven't talked about yet. So it's
Oh.
possible that that is there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it does feel like something maybe they would have mentioned. Interestingly,
Mm-hmm.
there was there has been a sprinkler item in previous games. Obviously, didn't do anything. It was just a
Mm-hmm.
cosmetic item.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting that they didn't decide to kind of move that item into the game and then actually have it do something. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't. I kind of agree with your point about the sprinkler. I think that would have been nice. Other than that, I don't think there's anything really that I'm kind of like, oh, I definitely want this. Like, everything that we got is everything that I would have been expecting and plus more, right? Like
Uh-huh.
they've basically added everything in that people have kind of been talking about and really
Mm-hmm.
wanting. And I did not expect this much in this update.
I
I
know.
think it's
It was
great.
so much. So much. Like, Phil, okay, so I can think of three other things, and two of them are quality of life related. So, like, bulk crafting and bulk buying, like increasing the amount of you can, like, buy. Those are my two
Yes.
things.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
never really expected that sort of thing because that's like a whole new kind of way of dealing with things, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
what they've added in has been like new features and new
Yeah.
items and stuff rather than like tweaking existing stuff. So I never really
Mm-hmm.
expected that. It would have obviously been nice if they had done it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think that's something I.
Well, I could see them not doing like the bulk buying thing because that's definitely they already have that. It's just only up to 5. But I could have seen them doing a crafting thing, but I understand why they won't do it because it's the game's meant to be done slowly, not speed running. And
Yeah,
and the other thing would be more personalities, like actual like make the villagers actually personable again. But I could see them doing that in a future game instead, possibly, now that they've done the legwork of making New Horizons.
yeah. I mean,
So,
that's not something I've ever really cared about.
yeah.
We all know
I
how I feel
understand.
about them.
Uh huh. But, like, give you the option at least. Like, if you wanted to actually have meaningful
Oh,
conversations with your
I'm not.
island
I'm
villager.
not saying. I'm not saying I don't want it. I'm saying I don't care. Right? Like,
Uh huh.
there's a difference between like I'm not saying this shouldn't come to the game. Um,
Mm
I'm. If it's there, I would just ignore it. Right? It doesn't make
hmm. Mm
any
hmm.
difference to me. I just really couldn't care less about it. I get that other people do. Like, I know that you like that. You'd like that, and Kevin really wants that, and
Mm hmm.
Rochelle wants that. But
Mm hmm.
I just, the villagers are not the reason that I play Animal Crossing. Oh,
Mm
well, I mean, I don't play Animal Crossing.
hmm.
They're not the reason I have played Animal Crossing and I'm going to play Animal Crossing, right? Like, I'm
Uh
going to
huh.
pick it up again probably tomorrow now that we're recording this podcast and I can stop playing Atomicrops. Oops,
Mm
spoiler.
hmm.
Um, but I, I'm not doing it because of the villagers. I'm doing it because of the farming, let's be honest, right?
Mm hmm.
And the DLC probably. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Understandable. Mm hmm.
Yeah, that feels like a good amount to talk about it just now. We will
Mm hmm.
obviously have a much more in-depth episode about it in the future. Don't
Yeah.
you worry, we will go into everything. And
Mm
obviously
hmm.
it'll be after the game has come out, so we can after the update and the DLC have come out, so we actually and we'll
Mm
know whether there's anything else that they haven't
hmm.
announced. Which would be good. I would be surprised if there was literally nothing in the game that they haven't announced in the update that they haven't announced.
Mm hmm.
But yeah.
We'll
Mm.
see. And I do have that Friday off, so I'm very, very excited to just
Haha.
devote it to Animal Crossing.
Last thing, are you buying the DLC
Yes.
and how?
How?
Yeah, are you going to buy it or are you
Oh,
going to get the
oh.
expansion pack?
I was like, is it physical? Do they have a physical app? No, no. I'll be doing it separately because I want to keep the features.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was almost certainly going to pay for a year of the expansion pack in Nintendo Switch
Mm-hmm.
Online expansion pack when it came out. So I will be doing that. And then in a year's time, if I'm still playing it and I don't care about the expansion pack, then
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'll drop the expansion pack and buy the DLC. But like I was always going to buy the expansion pack basically no matter how expensive it was for a year and then
Mm-hmm.
probably stop after that. So I'm not spending more money than I would have. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Very good.
I can always buy the DLC later if I want to, but I wouldn't be surprised if I
Indeed.
spent a few months playing it and then stopped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll see.
I think the thing I'm really interested about is whether this will mean that they're going to add more stuff to the expansion pack, like more DLCs. I don't want to get overexcited. I'm not saying they definitely will. It's an interesting thing. Like, are they setting a little bit of a precedent here? And you go, oh well, they never they why would they announce something after the expansion pack has been announced?
Yeah.
But they did that, right? Because they announced the
They did
expansion
it.
pack and they didn't tell us that the Animal Crossing DLC was going to be in it. And then they
Mm-hmm.
announced the Animal Crossing DLC and said that was going to be in it. So they have a precedent for adding things to this now
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't initially announce.
I could see them doing that moving forward. It would be kind of almost like their game pass, because it is essentially that, like, you're paying more so you can have access to the N64 and also now potentially to Animal Crossing. So Animal Crossing is not going to appeal to everyone, but I could see them having like a paid DLC to like something that's even more popular, like Smash or what have you. That could be a reason to keep people coming back to the expansion pack.
Yeah.
Because it is quite pricey.
Yeah, and I guess the thing is that, I will never not play for Nintendo Switch Online, right? Because I want online. Like, I can't
Yeah.
I can't see myself having a Switch and using it regularly and not wanting online. But if I'm not using the N64 games and I'm not using the Mega Drive games, why would I pay for that yearly?
Yep.
Yeah. Because let's be honest, they might add a few more good games to it. Like, we've got an outline of most of the games they're going to be adding. There might be a few more, but in a year's time, they're going to go back to what they were doing with the NES and the SNES games, which is like all these random games that nobody really cares about just to pad out the lineup. And that's fine, but that's not something that's going to get people back. You're right.
Yeah.
They want people to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they've set the price this high to give them that buffer to add more stuff in. And they didn't feel like they could do that at the price that they'd set the lower one in. And it makes sense, right? Because they want people to be able to easier get online if they can't afford the more expensive thing, which is good.
Yeah.
We want that. We want more things to be more easily accessible.
Yes, indeed. We want options.
Yeah. And I think that, I don't really get the complaint about, oh, well, they should have made it cheaper and not included the Animal Crossing one. Because, like, this isn't something you have to buy, right? This isn't something you have to care about. If you're not interested in it, that's fine. If you are interested in the N64 and the Mega Drive things, actually, was it 30 quid or something for the year? It's different for here and there. I think it's actually £20 more, which is less than the DLC is, which is funny. And I think it's slightly more than what the DLC is. So is it $30? I think. Like $30 a year for a decent library of N64 and Mega Drive games is pretty good. Obviously I would prefer if the library was bigger. There are going to be games that I would want in there that they will never add, right? And obviously that's disappointing.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's a bad deal. And if it's a bad deal, just don't buy it. I don't I have lots of complaints about Nintendo. I don't think they're perfect, and I think they do anti-consumer things. This is not an anti-consumer thing. They're not making you do this. They're not tying it to something like online. Like, if they had just increased the price of Nintendo Switch Online, that would have been bad. I would have really complained about that.
Yeah.
Right? But they're not doing that. And it's like, isn't that capitalism? They want to sell you something and you don't want to buy it, or you want to buy it and you choose based on that, whether you think it's worth it. I don't get it.
I think it's the issues that you're spending, like, you're giving money away and you're not owning it, so you can't access it later.
Sure, but that's the same with digital games anyway.
Well, not necessarily.
They can take away your digital games at any point. It's within the licensing agreement.
We won't talk about that. That's a whole another.
Well, no, but it's not. It's not. It's totally related. Unless you buy only 100% physical games, you don't.
Which I
own
that
copy
to.
of the game.
Every chance I get, I do try to buy buy physical for that reason. But at least with in the past,
you can do that. And you can do that for these games. You can buy a physical version of these games. But if you want to play them on your Switch, you can't use that. And that's part of the deal, right? Like, I do think that these companies need to be better at games preservation. I absolutely do. And I think they need to be more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think
Well,
I don't own these games makes any sense. If you want to own them, you can go and own them.
sure, but like also like the fact that one, they're not like printing or like producing these games. Printing's not the right word, but you know, actually
No, I know what
selling
you
these
mean, yeah.
games anymore, it makes it like you have to go into the third party market, which can be very, very expensive, especially
Yeah.
for an older game that was limited, I guess, production or you know what have you.
I mean,
And
the
like
alternative
like
to
they've
this
done
way
the
of doing
NES and they've done the SNES. So like they've done that in the past. So they've already set a precedent for creating an updated or a more modern version of these games.
but how's
So
that different though? You're still paying a yearly subscription to get access to.
do you? If you own the console, I'm pretty sure that means you own the game on the console.
Wait, what are we talking about now? I thought you were talking
I'm
about the
So the actual like physical NES, like
the new ones. The
the
okay.
new ones.
Yeah, I mean, that is
And
probably
like
better than digital downloads, but also it's not like that's a more limited library, I think, than the Nintendo Switch Online.
probably. I mean, obviously, there's only so much you can put on there, and they didn't give you access to like buying other cartridges or adding to it. But at least like people can own it and like not have to pay for it twice if
I mean,
they like decide a year from now that they want to play it again. You know.
well, I'm pretty sure there is a Mega Drive one as well, so you can get that. I think it's just the end that's not there out of the ones that you can get on Nintendo Switch Online. I don't think this means they won't do that necessarily. I think those are two separate markets, and I think
Possibly, but they've never like announced that they are going
Sure,
to do that, and
of
they would
course.
make more money off of a subscription service because people will have to continue to pay.
Yeah, but
in
they will
order to
also. I
play it.
mean, they'll make the most money by doing both of them. Like
They
they've done that for
would.
NES and SNES. Why wouldn't they
True.
do it for N64 as well?
I don't know. Nintendo, I question their marketing all the time.
Sure, sure. I guess my point is I don't think this is anti-consumer. I think that there are many things they do that
No.
are anti-consumer. I don't think the subscription for getting access to games is, because the alternative is what we had on the 3DS and the Wii U, which is you pay 10 or 20 quid per game, which is ridiculous.
I would almost prefer that because it's like not everything on the library I want to play. Like I am
But it doesn't need to be
waiting.
many games to be
It
worth more than paying more than the subscription.
it would have to be more than 3
Yeah, I know that's not a lot.
in this case. I suppose, but like the
And
only game I really want to play that isn't on like anything that I can access, but I want on the Switch are the original Pokemon games. Like
Sure.
Pokemon
I mean, that's
Red.
right. Yeah. But that's about the library,
Yeah.
which is a fair argument. The
Yeah.
library isn't great. I think the library needs to be better, but they're obviously going to have issues with licensing. And the Pokemon one is they're gonna not do that as much as the people want them to, because then it's going to take people away from buying the newer games, right? I don't that's bad. Yeah, I agree, but that's just about exactly what games they have. I think
Yeah.
here's one really good thing about subscription. It allows you to try things that you would never buy in a million years, because you have already paid for it, right? Like there are, and you may not do this, and there may be many people that don't do this, but you have the ability to try out things that you would never pay money for, but you would love to try. It gives you much more accessibility in that terms. And we are still talking. I mean, obviously, there is still the argument about whether the library is good enough, and I totally understand that. If you don't think the library is good enough for $30 a year, then that's fine. But and I know that $30 a year can be a lot for some people. I absolutely understand that. But those people are probably unlikely to be kind of buying a lot of games anyway. And actually, I don't know about individuals' positions and situations, but probably for their target demographic, $30 a year is not a lot of money, right? That's what, a month and a half of Netflix?
Yeah, it's definitely feasible considering today's subscription like amounts and the fact that like how expensive games overall have just become in the last, few years. So definitely $60 game or $80 game versus a $30 subscription where you can have access to a library that's kind of a no-brainer if you don't really care what you're playing and you're just looking for, most bang for your buck in that sense. But I would say there's still an argument to be made about trying things out physically and then selling them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's fair, but they're never going to do that for old games. That's just these, it's either going to be a subscription or you buy individual games, or I guess as you say the buy the mini console. But obviously that's dreadful for the environment, right? Because you're making a whole new electronics thing for what exactly? To have something to sit on your shelf when your Switch can play all those games perfectly fine. They're not great.
No.
Anyway, I didn't expect to be talking about that, but there we are.
I know.
Send me your hate mail. I look forward to hearing that my opinions are bad.
Or, come tell me I'm right or wrong.
We've got an update to Garden Story. There's new shops. There's more cosmetics. Another upgrade for each of the tools and some more building plots and shortcuts. You've not played Garden Story, have you?
I have not, but it looks so very cute and peaceful, especially after the mess of the game we'll eventually talk about. But I'm sure at some point I will.
I'd highly recommend it. I'm not sure I'm going to go back to the game for this update. I'm kind of sad that it hadn't come out beforehand, so I could have got some of that stuff while I was playing. But I feel like I've got my fill in Garden Story.
Okay.
But it's certainly fun. It's enjoyable. Recommended.
Good.
There's been another delay. Lens Island Early Access has been delayed. It was meant to come out on the 5th of November. It's now coming out on the 26th of November. I don't think this was a delay because they had stuff to get done. I think they didn't want to release on the 5th because there were other games that they didn't want to compete with.
Valid. That is, I think, very, very valid. They could not have predicted other people's timetables.
They should have tried.
Just avoid the whole month of November. November and March.
Let's be honest, yeah. I think it will probably delay me playing that game because I am not going to play it that week because that's the Pokemon week. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All my gaming time is just scheduled as Pokemon.
I still need to pre-order that, but yes, it's going to be mostly Pokemon, very, very heavily based Pokemon. But who knows? Maybe I've been juggling games very well lately. So maybe I will come back and try some Lens Island then, because I believe I am a backer and excited for this one.
I'm definitely going to play it, just not in November.
Not immediate, like on release, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe December, maybe January. We'll just see how things go. We will do an episode on it. Don't you worry. There will be an episode, but not sure exactly when. Also, so there was an interview that was done with the Lens Island developer, and just one interesting thing out of that is they've said that they do want to do, but obviously it's not on the cards yet. It's just something that they have been thinking about. So, I mean, the full release of the game isn't going to be for another 2 years at least, which, let's be honest, probably means 2020.
Yeah, I've seen I feel like a lot of the indie farming games have done that route, like started on PC and then once they've developed enough, they've moved on to the consoles to get a wider market or wider audience, I guess, which makes sense. Hey,
Stardew Valley did that, Stardew Valley was obviously still popular before it came out on the Switch, but I think when it came out on the Switch was kind of it kind of got it to a wider audience, and because especially because of when it was released, because there wasn't a huge amount on the Switch at that point. It just kind of was that's what created that moment in time where everybody was playing
it. Yeah, definitely.
Factory Town 1.0 is finally coming out. It's been a long time since that came into early access. I hadn't even registered that it hadn't done 1.0 yet, but there we go.
I also, this is also a game that I haven't played, But I remember when you did it, and I remember was that the last time you streamed?
It wasn't. I did some
Okay.
Harvest Moon One World stream,
Okay.
but yeah, no, that was the first time I streamed it.
hmm
Streaming
There we
Factory
go.
Town.
It was okay. I knew it was like a landmark stream thing. I just didn't know which one.
Yeah, that's coming out on the 17th of November. There's a few
hmm
new features. There was only one that kind of really piqued my interest, which is one of the big things we'd said in our episode about Factory Town was that all your workers are just like generic white dude.
hmm
And that was disappointing. Well, they're finally bringing out worker customization and diversity. So they
Uh-huh.
will randomly generate themselves a skin tone and style, hair, etc. And you can
hmm
individually change them if you want. Although there is something a little bit weird about taking a character that's already existing in your game and changing their skin color. Um,
Oh no. Oh no. I didn't realize that they could do that. Oh no no no. No, that's not good.
So yeah, you can click on your worker and change their race.
Oh dear. Oh no. I could understand wanting to change their hairstyles because some of these look very like just distracting. Like I would almost prefer them just be bald and just different colors and just
I think. I
let them
mean,
be little meeples or
remember
whatever.
they are really small. I feel like you won't
I
notice too
guess.
much of a difference. I think the skin color is a much bigger difference, and
Yeah.
I support this. I think this is a very good. But yeah, it just seems really weird being able to change them after they exist.
I support the increase in diversity. I don't support and willingly changing them because you can theoretically just
I'm
revert
al-
it
I'm
back.
also trying to think if there's any way you can deal with the customization and it not be weird. Because I'm like, well, maybe you could like change it so you only spawn certain ones. But then I'm like, oh no, because then if someone ends up just only spawning white people, right, that's worse.
I mean, just do it so you can only change the hairstyles and the color. But why would you also add skin tone? That just sounds
I think,
this
I mean, it just any way that you're going to change these just feels weird to me.
I don't know. I would be fine with the hair. Like, give him a new hairstyle. That's
Yeah.
fine. Like, that's you can do that in
You know,
most, I think, video
I,
games. But
I,
uh,
I think actually, well, I think the difference is, right, you're going to have hundreds of these, right? It's not just you have
mhm,
a few, right? And you're not just creating one, right? So that's kind
mhm,
of the first thing. Secondly, I feel like even with the hair, I think that what I would think is probably fine would be a checkbox for whether they have hair on. Because I
mhm,
get with like the distraction of having that extra bit on top. I understand
mhm.
that would be weird, but all it just feels like a lot of. Are you going to go around each of your individual 200 workers and change all of their hairs? Like that doesn't really
Yes,
feel like something you're going to
yes.
do.
I could see it being helpful if like you're assigning specific ones to specific tasks, so you can put them in
Yeah, that's
specific
true.
colors. Or
That's
so
true. That is
I
kind
see
of the
the
point. Yeah.
appeal. Yeah, but I just like
But
just
again,
don't
only do that
extend
with
it
hair.
to
Don't do that with skin tone.
yeah, or like the clothes. You could change the clothes, change the shirt, change the
Well,
hair.
just
Like if you
don't
worried about
assign
like
specific races to specific
yeah,
tasks.
don't do that. And if you like don't want to change gender, then like I don't even know. Like don't change the
I don't
facial
think.
hair. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they have a gender. They just have different hairstyles, which
Yeah.
people might
So
assume are certain things.
yeah, people would definitely assume that. So there's something to be said about that alone. That they don't assign gender.
Yeah,
But
no, that's good.
I
It's
don't
kind of becoming the standard in games
know.
recently, and it's kind of
Except
weird
for
when you don't have that. Even
yeah.
if you have like here are the two styles we have, they're not kind of designated as this is the male style and this is the female style. It's just here
hmm
are the two styles.
hmm
But
I do like that route. Like it would be great if they just stopped forcing you to choose or had
hmm,
more options for
hmm,
choosing if they did force you. Like I'm thinking specifically of stories of seasons, but yeah.
yeah, yeah.
hmm
Although they've improved a lot with the newest game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
My
don't
little character is as like masked as I can make her. She's great.
anyway
I love
don't
her.
don't 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 do ethnic cleansing with your factory town workers, please.
Please don't. Please. Or like
Uh,
assign a different skin tone color for like a different task, because that doesn't feel great either. But
yep.
yeah, just I guess
Um,
moving on.
I wonder if they've thought about these things or not. Like that was the first thing that popped into my head was, oh no.
That was also oh no, but it might be that they were like, oh, we can assign different colors to different tasks, which I see the appeal of that. I do.
I think it works well for the clothes because it looks like you can
Mm-hmm.
change their clothes as well. I think that
Yeah.
is a very good way of doing it. Yeah, I like that
Yes.
because then you can
Mm-hmm.
visually see which ones you want to do specific things.
Mm-hmm.
That is all. Moving on from the
Uh-huh.
ethnic cleansing. Um, there's a new game out now called Bun House. You are a bunny, as in a rabbit, and
Mm-hmm.
you grow plants and manage a greenhouse with other bunnies. Need I say more?
No, I mean it's very very cute. I love the style of this game. It looks very very adorable, but why?
Yeah,
The
it's weird.
There's a cat. There's several cats. One, so I could see why they'd like. Okay, let's choose some other very very cute animal that people like, and make them farm with them. Oh my goodness, bunnies fishing. I can't. Bunnies doing yoga. Oh no.
It's interesting. This is a link to the show notes. I don't know what else we can say about this. It's just
I
interesting.
mean, I kind of want it, but it's.
It has
I,
69 reviews and very positive. So there you go.
it's very pretty. I will say that. That alone might be enough of a reason to make me want it, but I
Well,
can't say that.
the bunnies look very furry. That is
Yes. Yes.
something.
That's all I want in bunnies, I guess. To see their individual hair follicles. Not
It does
really,
seem to be
but-
quite detailed with the plants as well. There's like it's not just like, oh, we can make a colorful plant or like, oh, here's a carrot. It's like aloe vera, calathea,
Monstera.
lemon
It does look
button
like
something. There's lots of
they are
very
using
detailed
like
stuff.
which I think introduces a like learning component to it,
Hmm.
right? Because they're all real plants that actually exist. So that alone would be an appeal for me. And I do like that they incorporate that, because any game that makes you learn as you play it is just wonderful in my book.
Yeah, I
hmm
don't disagree.
hmm
Yeah, so you can get it now if you want on Steam. Link in the show notes.
Awesome.
And we come to the other piece of news, which I think I have more notes on than everything else in the news combined.
Uh-huh.
ConcernedApe, the developer of Stardew Valley, has announced their latest game called, right, this is a mouthful of a name, right? And I feel like we're all going to call it something else, but basically it's called ConcernedApe's Haunted Chocolatier.
Wait, is that actually the full name?
That is the full name, ConcernedApe's Haunted Chocolatier.
Wouldn't it just be Haunted Chocolatier?
No, it is ConcernedApe's
no.
Haunted Chocolatier.
Why?
You know, like Sid Meier's Civilization, you know?
No. No, I don't.
Okay, so we're talking it's weird. I get why he's doing it, because like you want to kind of tag it to yourself or your previous game. And if you're not going to have Stardew Valley somewhere in the name, you need to have yourself very visible. And he's decided that that's the way he wants to do it, and fair enough. But let's be honest, nobody's going to call it ConcernedApe's Haunted Chocolatier.
No. And
Because
I
that
would
is
argue
such a mouthful.
yeah, and I would argue that like anyone who knows, like who can actually think of like, oh, ConcernedApe was the creator of Stardew Valley, other than like the brief second that, you know, his name appears on the loading menu. If anyone actually does know who he is, they're going to be aware of anything else he does, because that's just like, you don't pay attention to devs unless you actually want to see more of their work, right? So like having
it feels like
named
a
after
very
yourself,
it feels like a very late 90s, early noughties name.
it does.
With that.
It does.
Because, like, let's be honest, nobody calls Civilization Sid Meier's Civilization. They call it Civ, right? They want a nice, short, quick way of naming it.
Like
So,
Stardew.
I don't know.
Like no one says Stardew Valley. They say Stardew.
Exactly.
Like
And
people
it
are gonna
doesn't
say
help that
chocolatier, and that's
chocolatier
it.
is a long, complicated word as it is.
It is. Maybe haunted choco is what they're gonna say it.
Honcho. No.
Hacho.
Hot chocolate.
Yes, yes. That HC. HC for short.
Yeah, that's how we're
That's
going
too
to type
short.
it, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Chocolate Stardew Valley.
Yes, yes. There we go.
Chocolate Stardew. Anyway,
Yes, there
so
we go.
exciting times. We finally have the name and a bunch of gameplay of the new game. So we knew that ConcernedApe was building a new game. And here we go. We got some stuff. I should obviously say right up the top, he has said that it's not anywhere near release. There's a long time before this is released. So don't be expecting anything. There are some people that think there was a hint at 2023 being the release date in the trailer, which I don't expect that, right? Like, don't be disappointed if it comes out later than that, right? You know, the reason that he hasn't put a date on it is because he doesn't want to be held to it, which is absolutely the right thing to do. So don't hold him to that date that you've made up. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, that
and
aside,
it took him 4 years to do like Stardew, so I could see
Yeah.
you know a similar time frame, especially if it's only going to be him. I don't really know if he has a team working underneath him now. But
I know that he'd farmed out a lot of Stardew stuff. I don't think he talked about whether he's the only one making this one or not.
yeah, I mean, if he's naming it after himself, I would think so. But
Well, do you think Sid
I don't
Meier actually
know.
still makes Civilization? Let's be honest, he doesn't.
I don't know.
And did Tom Clancy ever make Rainbow Siege or whatever it was called?
I don't know. Well,
Don't think so. Tom Clancy was a writer, wasn't he?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, a writer. He wasn't a game developer.
Well, you know what? The website that he links to is hauntedchocolatier.net. So I have hope that it's not going to actually be the full. But we'll see, because even in quotations, it's Concerned Apes. But
yes,
we'll see.
in he says it's called Concerned Apes Haunted Chocolatier. That is the official name at this point in time. Whether it changes is a different question. But we all know that nobody's going to call it that, other than in moments like this, or when they want to make fun of it. That's literally it. I don't need. Oh, good fun. Right, should we talk about the game?
Well, at least what we know.
There is a trailer with some gameplay. And so there's a couple of things that I noticed. So obviously, first of all, you are a chocolatier rather than a farm. It looks very similar to Stardew Valley, which is a good thing. I like it. I don't think when someone makes a popular game, I get that there's kind of this should we just make more of that, or should we make something different? I really like how this is a similar but different game. It's kind of a bit of both, which is good. I'm not going to complain about how similar in some ways this is to Stardew Valley, because everything that it's taken is stuff that we like, right? The graphics we like. It looks good. It looks like Stardew Valley. The music, it sounds like Stardew Valley, but that's good. We like that. The combat looks very similar to Stardew Valley combat, but it looks like he's added new mechanics. So first of all, you have a shield now, it looks like, which is fun. Also, there's a bow and arrow, which obviously is kind of similar to the slingshot, but is still different.
Probably better.
And probably better, yes. And I noticed at some point that they had a stick, which I don't think you ever can technically fight with a stick in Stardew, can you?
Oh, I wonder if there's going to be like a crafting component then, if you can start off with a stick and then... Or unless it's just like you pick up a stick and that like it's a free weapon.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Or like,
yeah,
I'm
thinking more like that. So like in Breath of the Wild, your first weapon tends to be a stick, and then you find a sword.
I could see that just because it looks like the area that you do go to fight is behind like a closed door. So it might be that it resets every time and you have to start off with the lowest weapon.
Right. So let's talk about that. So in the trailer, so it looks like your base is like a big castle, right? And with lots of different rooms, including the chocolate making room, the shop, your bedroom, and also this door. Now, I think it looks like that door is a portal. And my guess is that you can like either you can change where the portal's going to, or it changes based on time of day or month or something like. But you seem to go through the portal to another area where there are monsters for you to fight and resources to get, and you get some resources by defeating the monsters, and you get some by foraging. Kind of very Stardew like, but different kind of things. There's more monsters, different ones, as well as some similar ones, and it looks like lots of different areas because you notice in the beginning of the trailer, or the first time you go through the portal video, you come into this area that it looks different from the other areas in the trailer, and I would guess that these are different areas you can portal to rather than just like one big expansive area. I don't know, what do you think about that?
My guess would be that it would be a random portal area, like it would specifically be
random, so you just go okay, interesting.
And that, like, just thinking back on like mechanics of Stardew, I would think that you could create, probably it won't be a totem, I'm sure, but have some sort of artifact that you can use once or twice, or have a standalone totem that's fixed or something that would allow you to pick where you want to go. But I think starting out, you would be limited to wherever it is it chooses to take you. Kind of like, is it Howl's Moving Castle that has like the door that changes every time you open it? I don't know. That's a movie. Ugh. I was trying to think, like, it's been done before, the random open a door and you don't know what's on the other side type thing. So I would assume it would be like that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, interesting. I guess there could be different ways for it to change as well. But
and like,
it definitely, the way that he jumps through it is very definitely like jumping into a portal.
Yeah, and the art style is different. Like, it's so much brighter compared to everything else within the castle. So it very much reads as like, this is a completely new area that's not, I guess it is physically connected, but it's obviously very, very different just from color tones, I guess.
It's, I guess we'll see. It's going to be a while till we get this, but I think that looks great. It seems like the way that you make money is by you actually have a shop, and you build like counters into the shop, and then you put certain items on the counters, and then the other villagers for the area come in and buy from you, rather than like the kind of typical farming game of here's a box, throw everything into it.
Yeah, so I could see how he would move a little away from like the farming, like obviously farming because of Stardew, but still have similar like mechanics of running a shop and selling money and crafting and that sort of thing. But it looks like you could do some automation with like little ghosties. They look so cute.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, right, there's got to be something story-wise in this, right? We know that. Because ConcernedApe is very good with story. But what I find interesting is it's obviously called Haunted Chocolatier, right? And you are in this big creepy castle, and there is a scene of these ghosts going around your shop. So I wonder whether that's part of the story, and like you kind of have to get them on your side. Are they like the Junimos in Stardew? Like what is their deal? But yeah, it does look like you can get them to help you, which is cool.
I do like that.
I also feel like there's probably a bunch of expansion because there are it looks like a couple of different shop layouts and sizes that in this trailer. So it looks like you can expand your shop over time as well.
Which still makes sense within, if you compare it back to Stardew. Like, you can upgrade your house, upgrade farming, buildings, etc.
One of the ghosts is taking the money from people, like as in is the shopkeeper.
I love them. They're so cute.
Sorry, I just got distracted by that.
You're fine. I'm not too surprised that the art style is one similar, especially, I guess we haven't talked about that yet. But it is confirmed that it's in the same universe?
Yes. Yep. That was confirmed a long time ago. When he first mentioned he was working on a new game, he said it was not a farming game, but set in the Stardew Valley universe.
So
And it's interesting because there's a bunch of speculation as to exactly what it is, because in the cinema in Stardew, there's a video, or there's a film that shows you kind of different areas in that world. And there is one area that does seem to have a big creepy castle that people are suggesting it could be that one.
Ooh. Oh, that would be so neat if okay, I haven't been to the cinema. I haven't played enough of. I've never gone past year 2 in Stardew because I've just bad at starting over. But I could see how maybe future games he would just stick within the world of Stardew and just pick different cinema locations, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In the films.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
Yep.
That would be a neat way to tie it in together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see why his art style wouldn't have changed. And also, he's not, like, he didn't start off as an artist. So I could see how much more of an uplift it would be if he had to start over, like, learning a whole new style.
Yeah.
For a whole new
Oh,
game.
absolutely. Absolutely. And why would you when it's so good?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's so popular, and it's within the same world anyway, so why go out of your way to make something completely different?
Yeah. I'm rereading this. I'll put this screenshot in the show notes. But I'm more convinced about this now that I've reread it, because so the area in this film where the people think might be is called Prairie Island, and the words in the film are: far to the west, alone in the vast gem sea, lies Prairie Island. In spite of its name, this land is home to a diverse array of natural biomes. Now, that would make perfect sense based on what we've seen in the trailer, right? That does seem to be a lot of different areas, different biomes, which would be interesting. And it looks like there's this city with the creepy castle at the top. It looks like it would fit perfectly.
It does.
And I love the idea that, was it 1.4? I think the cinema was added in. Like, was
This
that
is
2 years before he announced this game? He basically showed us the area that the game was in. I love that.
I honestly would not be surprised because when it was a later update, like not originally in it, so he could have. Well, I mean, maybe he did. I don't know. Like planned this from the beginning.
Maybe,
but that would be a really neat idea, and he has said that he's been working on this for a while.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be surprising that he would connect the two, especially if they are in the same world.
Exactly.
And
he was definitely was working on it at the same time as doing 1.5. I don't know whether he was doing it at the same time as 1.4 or not, but he could have absolutely been planning that. You know?
Which is smart. Like, people love these little like Easter eggs, so
yeah.
I really hope that's the case. I don't know if he'll ever like confirm it, but I'm sure people will decide for themselves once they actually start playing this game, like how similar it is.
Yeah.
Especially if the place is called Prairie Island.
Yeah. So a few other things I wanted to point out. Obviously, we've talked about the music. It sounds great. I like the music in the trailer, and it sounds like you might be releasing it as a song. Someone asked him on Twitter about that. I'm pretty sure I saw a couple of Stardew Valley characters in the trailer, just kind of walking around in the town. Obviously, it could just be that they look similar to the characters and they're not actually the same characters, but obviously there's a lot of other characters, and I'm sure there will be lots of disappointment as to which characters you can't romance, because it does look like there is a romance system in the game again, because there's a moment of someone giving someone a gift and a love heart coming above their head. But there are at least a few characters in this game that I know people will be very upset if they can't romance.
Already off the bat. I mean, there was that one scene that looked like it was in your house, like in your actual living space, that someone else was there. So like normally that person would be your spouse in Stardew.
Ooh. You think is that in your castle? Interesting.
I think so.
Oh, there's so much here.
I know. Like, you could probably just do an episode of this, like just like this one trailer, and do so much speculation off of this.
Yeah, someone's taken like all of the screenshots of the different areas and tried to put them all together into the castle.
Oh goodness! And it's been out. Like, he announced this yesterday.
A couple days, Friday, I think it was. Oh,
Oh,
no,
October 8th.
Thursday.
Okay.
No. Oh, I lose track. I was off yesterday, so I'm confused as to what day it is. This is Saturday, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
know.
think
I know what you mean.
I think it was Friday. Not. Yeah, so yesterday.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure looking at the confirmed bits we have of the castle that bit is the bit where you're romancing someone is not in your castle. It looks like a different place.
Oh.
Because it has a kitchen, and there is
Mhm.
another kitchen that we know is in your castle.
Well, if it's a
Now it
castle,
could
I could see multiple kitchens existing,
that's
but
it's possible, but it also just kind of looking at it, I get why it kind of feels similar-ish, but it also
mhm.
doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it does. I don't know.
I suppose it could be
Either it,
someone else's house that you befriended enough to go inside and then
yeah,
gifted them.
it's either someone else's house or this castle is absolutely massive.
Mhm.
Because this map I'm looking at of the confirmed places in the castle has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different rooms.
Okay.
And this, if this was part of it as well, that would add another 3 rooms.
I mean, I honestly could see this whole game taking place entirely within the castle. Like, especially
Well,
if there's a
there
magical
definitely is a
portal.
town that you have
There
to get.
is. There is. So I guess it's just a question of, like, is it something you can actually access, or can you only access it through that weird portal-like door?
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But if
I'm gonna
just looking
guess
at that
not.
one, I would guess not. From if we're right and it's a teaser, like an Easter egg from Stardew,
Yeah.
that looks
It
like
looks
there is a
like
town
you'd have to
connected.
come down from the castle to the town. But I
Mm-hmm.
guess it would make sense that, your castle is quite separate from the rest of the town, but
Mm-hmm.
not in a have to go through a portal kind of.
Yeah,
That would certainly.
and I guess another argument I would make that it's not located within the castle is that it has a different color tone again. Like it's not as dark as the castle is, so it looks like it could be
Yeah.
somewhere else. So someone's house possibly. I'm excited.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Yeah, I'm wondering kind of I don't want to get people's hopes up, and probably this won't be the case, but I wonder how far away this is from Stardew Valley. Like, could there be any integration with Stardew Valley in some way? That would be nice, but maybe I'm expecting too much. Story wise, it looks like there's a section where you walk into a pub and they're like, "Oh, so you're our new chocolatier," and then like a bunch of people kind of gather around you in a menacing way.
Oh, I didn't take it as menacingly. I thought they were excited to meet someone new.
I don't know. They're like walking at you from 3 different directions with exclamation marks above their head.
I guess but there was like one smiley face, like sitting down on off to the left, like in the booth. Like someone had a smiley face above their head.
Well, sure,
So
but they're not coming towards you. They're
no,
just
they're
sitting over on
not.
the side.
I mean, I guess it could go either way. Like an exclamation point could be either excitement or anger or just strong emotions. So I guess it could go.
I just like I can't imagine being approached by 3 different people from 3 different sides blocking off your exit, not being intimidating.
I I I could see that. I could definitely see that coming across as intimidating. But I also wouldn't be surprised from a small town plot or population from reacting with excitement. It's like something new, and wanting to immediately come over and say hi and learn who they are. I guess. Like
Yeah.
that is just a reaction that I've seen in I feel like in countless other like small town like shows or TV or like movies where people are just generally excited for something new and shiny, so they they spring and overwhelm the new person.
Okay.
But
Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe you're being
I
too
don't know.
optimistic.
I think getting beat up in the pub sounds more exciting.
Yeah. We'll
Uh-huh.
we'll see what comes.
Uh-huh. I do
Um,
love the look of that pub. Like I saw that and immediately fell in love with like the atmosphere of that locality. Just I don't know, the vibe of it just seemed very, very nice with like the cars coming by and like outside or a train. I don't know what something moving outside looked very interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing is someone asked ConcernedApe on Twitter about price range, and he said that it won't be more than Stardew, so kind of standard Stardew.
That's nice. This
Yeah.
Stardew was 15 US, I think.
something like that, 15, 20, something like that. Anyway,
Okay,
so it's
that's
kind of
good.
kind of mid-range indie pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Because like let's be honest, ConcernedApe probably could ratchet up the price and
Oh yeah,
people would still buy it.
yeah,
Um,
good.
but
Yeah.
equally, we know that he's going to sell bucket loads of this game.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't need to. So
And I could see that the strategy, like the marketing strategy, working for a lower tiered like price entry point, I
yeah.
guess. Because like I own several copies of Stardew because it was cheap and
Exactly.
affordable, and I wanted it on a lot of different places for access. So I could see
Absolutely.
that's worked in the past for him.
I think I'm at 4 copies. PC, Switch, Android, and iOS.
Oh goodness. I think I'm also at 4 copies. I have iOS, PC, Switch, and then a physical copy.
Oh yeah, I did. I got the physical version, but then I think I sold the physical version and
Okay.
kept the rest of the stuff because I was like,
Mm.
I want all of this stuff, but I don't need a physical physical Switch version, so I sold that to someone else.
I think that's valid. I will say I prefer having it physical just for security. Uh, but having to put it in every time I want to open it up is now like
Yeah,
annoying because I'm so used to
yeah,
just being able to load it up from the menu. But yeah, anyway.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
Obviously, links to all of those things will be in the show notes, and I'm
Mhm.
sure there'll be plenty more news in the future.
So
And
excited.
obviously, we will cover this game when it comes out,
Mhm.
in whether it's in 2023 or later.
If it is indeed a teaser from Stardew, like an Easter egg from Stardew Valley, I could see it being sooner rather than later because that shows he has been working on it for several years at this point. And I can't imagine that he would spend more than 4 years when it took him 4 years to start to create Stardew from
I don't
scratch.
know because remember that a lot of what is Stardew now was added later, right? Like actually, what is Stardew was probably about half of what there is now.
See, most of what I'm still familiar with is what was initially
Fair, fair,
put
fair.
in,
Yeah,
which is still a lot.
I can see that argument, but also like it's very possible that he like started from scratch again and did things to do things in a better way and make it nicer. And if there are
True.
more different kinds of mechanics in this game, I could see it taking longer.
That's a good
Um,
point.
Especially if I think a lot of this game will not necessarily be the implementation mechanics of it, but will be the story
Mm-hmm.
and the characters and because he obviously does all of that. He does the
Yeah.
art, he does the music, he does
Mm-hmm.
all of the story, he does, and it seems like there are a lot more characters in this game.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot now. Whether they have as fleshed out lives as the Stardew Valley ones or not, I don't know. But if
Mm-hmm.
if it does, that would definitely extend
Yeah. And I could
everything.
see him wanting to start off with more rather than do the updates like
Well,
over
exactly,
time.
because he's in a completely different world now, right?
Yeah.
When he was making Stardew, he needed to sell the game
Yep.
to
He was
to live.
unemployed for 4 years working on this game.
Exactly,
Uh-huh.
exactly. Whereas he has made a buttload of money
Uh-huh.
from Stardew Valley, um, that I suspect he can probably afford to take 5
Oh
6
yeah.
years before
Yeah.
before releasing it.
That's a very good point. Mm-hmm.
Especially as we keep buying the game. It's
Uh-huh.
not like we've stopped buying it.
Yeah.
But I probably paid the same in what I would have paid for DLC if he'd released the updates as DLC,
Oh
just
yeah.
in different versions.
For sure. For sure.
Oh dear. We like ConcernedApe. You definitely are not anti-consumer.
No, no, and we applaud you for that.
You have given us more than we definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all the news. Obviously we will have more on ConcernedApe's Haunted Chocolatier as it comes. Yeah, exciting.
Mm-hmm. Very.
Shall we talk about Atomicrops, Bev?
I guess that's what we're here to do.
So I wanna start out initially by saying I didn't hate this game, and I don't know whether it wasn't what I expected, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure whether that's because I didn't actually properly look at what the game was before playing it, but it. I'm not going to say I enjoyed it. I'm certainly not going to play it again. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't hate my time doing it.
I, I I feel like I have a love and hate relationship with this game.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
I I think this was I wouldn't say this is exactly what I expected because it wasn't, but I did exactly expect for it to be stressful.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Uh-huh. So I knew that coming in, and I was confirmed very, very quickly that was exactly the case. But I was very lost, I think, for like a while until I took some time to like stop and read about the game and read about strategies on how to do it. There was a learning curve that I did not expect, I
Yeah.
guess, to have to do on my own, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's. Shall we do a quick overview? So,
Yes.
first of all, this is a farming a farming roguelite game.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I don't care, listeners, if technically it's a roguelike rather than a roguelite. They call it a roguelite. So we're going with that. I still don't understand the difference between them. But that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. You don't need to tell me the difference. Anyway,
Yeah.
so the important point is um, I didn't realize it was a roguelite. That was not something I was aware of before I played
Yeah.
the game.
Same.
Um, so you start out. If you don't know the premise, it's got the standard farming game premise, and then a nuclear bomb drops.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I was
and
also
so you're
very
now in.
surprised by that intro. Like it was completely different. Like I did not expect it at all. I don't know why, but it just feels so disconnected from the actual game itself. Like the art is completely
Yeah,
different.
it's interesting. So you kind of start up the game, and you're in the intro is a tutorial,
Mm-hmm.
which I kind of like, but it also felt a little bit jarring, being like, oh, wow, we're already in it, right? Okay, fine, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of like how it did that tutorial. It was a good tutorial, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
the best thing is you can always go back to the tutorial
Yep.
in the game. You can just
Yep.
go, oh, I want to go back to that, which is really good.
Yep. And I did
Um,
because I wasn't sure what it did, so I did it anyway.
yes, yeah, definitely.
Uh huh.
You've got the way the day works is you've got I think it's a 2 minute day, where generally your crops are safe. I say generally because it doesn't seem to always be the case.
No.
Um, and you can go out exploring and finding other kind of seeds and upgrades and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you've got I think a 2 minute night as well, um, where
I think it's about a
monsters come and try
minute.
and attack your crops.
I could be wrong, but
Is
I
it
think
just a minute?
it's not a lot of time. So I think both might be at 2 minutes total, but I could be wrong. It could be a total of 4 minutes. But I haven't actually looked at it because it just,
Yeah, I think part of the thing is it's just so fast paced that you lose track of
yes,
these
yeah.
things.
You really can't just
Um,
watch the clock. Like that's the least of your concerns. I mean, time is very important, but you can't. Your eyes need to be watching other things.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, exactly what it is. It's like it's pretty quick, right? You've got the
Hmm.
day and then you've got the night. And during the night, there's a bunch of monsters trying to destroy your crops, and so you have to go
Hmm.
kill them,
Yep,
and
I remember
while doing
being
everything else.
Uh-huh. I remember being so upset when they said you're safe. Like your crops are safe and like during the day. And I took that to mean I was safe during the
Ah,
day on my farm. And was very upset when I learned that was not the
yeah. This is
case.
very not the case because other than your farming area, everywhere else is infested with monsters.
Well, so is
And you
your
have
farming
and you have
area. Like
well,
you have the
so
little
yeah.
moles.
Yeah, so
Like
I'm really confused, right? I guess maybe what it is, and maybe I didn't notice this, but maybe the moles or the moles can't attack your crops, just you.
yeah. I've never seen anything attack my crops during the day, which is I think why it specifically says your crops are safe during the day.
Yeah, so I was really confused with that because like the second night
Yeah.
you've got these moles
Uh-huh.
attacking you, and I was like, oh no, I need to defend my crops now.
Mhm.
I didn't realize at that point that they weren't attacking your crops, just you.
Yeah.
But anyway, weird.
I was very
I mean, I feel
frustrated.
like most of our complaints are going to come from like this is not the style of game we want to play. Um,
Uh-huh. This is not like there is farming, but this is like absolutely
it's
does not
just
fall within the the calm like
no, definitely.
no. Uh,
So you go exploring during the day to get things, and you have to like kill other monsters in other areas to get like seeds and animals and stuff. And we'll get to the animals in a minute because they don't work like animals.
mhm.
Um, And then the night you're defending your crops. We'll get
Mm-hmm.
into exactly how the crops work later on in the mechanics section.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the night is over, you then get taken by helicopter to the town, where you can like buy upgrades and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you can do your relationships and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then a season I think is 3 days long.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Again, I kept getting confused because you don't get a number that tells you what day you're on, and it's just after 3 days when you go back to your farm, it's like, oh, you need to go talk to the mayor, and you're like, there's a mayor. Um, okay, there's a mayor
Yeah.
apparently of this
Mm-hmm.
apocalyptic town.
There is
Um,
like a little calendar off to the right. So like right next to like where it says like whether it's like dawn, how much time you have left in the day or night, there is a small little calendar icon that has circles on the 3 little slots that indicate, the full season range. So that's your way
okay,
to track what day it is.
I had not noticed that.
Mhm. I think,
That's good to
well,
know.
the only reason why I noticed that was because I believe that was something I read. Like, here's a tip on, like, when you should, upgrade things, because the next day is going to be the last day, and the last day means a boss of. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that's when you get the bosses. Oh, for
Uh-huh.
goodness sake. I'd never noticed any system to that. I just knew that occasionally there was
Mm-hmm.
a massive. I thought they were just random.
And like
Uh,
they don't do a good job of explaining that to you. Like even during the tutorial, that would have been very good info to like I feel like to learn.
I
Like here's
think.
the formula. You get
I,
3 days. On the last day, you have a boss, and that's like once you beat the boss, you get to like the next season.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't even need to beat the boss. You just need to not die.
True. Which I found out recently, I think, and I am so happy that they decided to make that like a caveat that
Yeah.
like
If you
as
don't
long as you
die,
make
that's
it
good
through the
enough.
night,
Yeah.
you survived, and that's all that matters.
I I I mean we'll come to conclusions later on, but I
Mm-hmm.
have to say I suspect the whole they don't explain everything is probably it probably appeals to those people who like this kind of game.
Yeah, that you discover everything on your own, and
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
because it's very
Um
exploration heavy. Like most of everything you need, you cannot get in the town. Like most of everything you need
yeah,
is through exploration, um, with
exactly.
like a few exceptions. But yeah.
So yeah, so 3 days long seasons. Once you've finished a season, you have to go talk to the mayor and you get some items and upgrades based
Mm-hmm.
on how well you did in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Um and then you go back in and you start the next season. And it's three days, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you die, you die. That's it. Your run is over, and you have to
Yeah,
start
which
again.
was also very startling when I first discovered that
Yeah,
you
and
just
that's what
start
makes it a
over.
roguelite.
Is
That's it.
that really what the definition is?
Well, I believe the roguelite rather than rogue like is that there are things that can go from one run to the other rather than you're always starting from fresh. So the fact that there are some permanent upgrades, which there are, although I never found any of them, but apparently there are. Well, I guess
Mm-hmm.
there's the relationships which are permanent. So that makes it a roguelite rather than a roguelike, I think. But anyway, my point wasn't that's what
Okay.
makes it a roguelite. It's what makes it a roguelite or like. Right.
Okay.
The acts of like we are going through this, and then once you die, you have to start again from either
From
scratch
scratch.
or close to scratch.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um
I don't think I've ever played a rogue game before because they're
a,
just
a,
I mean they're like
a rogue
arcade
based
games,
game.
right? Like they're like
Yeah.
arcade games. Like you put in your quarter and you play it, and then once you're done, you're done. If you have another quarter, then you can play again. And in this case,
Yeah.
you just have infinite quarters because you've bought the whole game. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was very jarring when I first realized that, and I was also very upset at the time. And
Um,
before you like move on to like mechanics, I do want to ask like how far you've gone.
hmm. I was just double checking the definition, but yeah, so a number of roguelites have introduced a mechanic of carryover progression to eventually make runs easier and allow players to go farther. So
Okay.
yeah, roguelite has
Okay.
something that can go between runs, although most things still reset.
Okay.
Um,
I like rogue light. then, because I need that something. I need it.
Yeah. So generally, I think roguelite is about kind of building up those permanent upgrades, whereas a roguelike is just about getting good at the game. Which, whatever. Right. Okay, fine. So that's kind of a vague overview of the game. Should we go through the mechanics first before we kind of discuss more into how we actually felt the game went?
I do want to know how far you got into it.
How do I even answer that question? I don't know. I never managed to do a run past summer.
Okay.
So I managed to complete spring multiple times, but I never. Oh, wait, did I complete summer once? I maybe completed summer once, and then died immediately in fall. I never managed to get past fall, and I only managed to get past summer once.
Okay, because I've made it to year 3, so I think.
What?
I know.
What?
I did a lot of reading.
That's insane.
And one thing I did not realize is that, because I would hear that there's like, you know, reading like the forums and stuff, like it seems like there's up to 10 years worth of gameplay in here, and I don't feel like I wouldn't even think this is like spoilers. But maybe it is, because it never occurred.
Okay, right. If you really care about like, it's probably not. We're not going to spoil like kind of. There's not really a story.
Yeah, there's no
story.
There's
not really anything to spoil about. But if you really care, if you're one of those people like anything can be a spoiler, stop listening now.
Yeah.
On you go.
Yeah, especially when we're going through actual like mechanics, because that's exactly what this game is mechanics.
There's no story.
Yeah. So stop now. You've been warned, and now I continue. So I thought that you would have to make it. You would have to live through 10 years to beat year 10. But it appears that once you've beat year 1, you end. Your run is over, and you enter back into the farmhouse, which is the main screen with like where you can change the character and like see the tutorial and stuff. And from there's a new sundial that has appeared, and you can change which year you play on.
Oh, so you can complete year 1 and then die, and then you can complete year 2 and then die, and then you can do year 3. Or presumably you can start from the beginning and just run through all 10 years if you really want a challenge.
Well, I don't think it will allow you to run through all 10, but I suppose
so can you only do 1 year at a time?
It's a forced stop. Like it ends, you start over, there's no way to continue. It just says press F for new game. Well, I'm using keys. You're playing on the Switch, but it says start a new game, choosing, whichever year you want.
Yeah, I never got to that. I'm not good at this game. Right,
I was not good at it either. I did a lot of reading. To see what strategies work, what made sense, because there's no guidelines. There's nothing to help you inside the game other than a very, very small description of what each item is, and that's usually not enough to tell you like when you should use it or how you should use it. So there's just not a lot of like guidance, which is, I guess, fine if that's what you like, but I don't. I'm the person who always buys the guidebooks if they exist.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go through the mechanics then. So farming. It's very interesting. So first of all, the really interesting thing about this is watering is almost automatic. So you have to kind of go to the well to pick up water, but then when you are next to a crop that needs water, you will automatically water it, which is interesting.
And you can only water one at a time, unless like there is one skill that lets you do 2, I think, but it's only one at a time.
And obviously you and we'll get onto the animals in a minute. Animals can help you do things as well. But yeah, so you need to create a piece of farmland, which is done using a pickaxe, which is a one-time use item.
Yep.
To create a piece of farmland, and then once you've done that, you then hoe it, whatever you call it, prepare it to be planted, and then you plant, and then your bee does something.
It pollinates.
Is that what it's doing? I don't know. It's doing its bee thing, right?
Well, so fruits
it doesn't make any sense, because why is it pollinating when there are no flowers yet? Literally, it's the first thing that needs to happen. You plant the seed, and then the bees do their thing. It's a seed. You can't do anything with a seed, bees.
Well, you know what? It's a mutant world. Maybe there's individual tiny flowers that you cannot see, but the bees can. Okay.
Anyway, not important. The bees do their magic,
Uh-huh.
and then it needs water, and so you water it, and then it grows, and then the bees do their thing, and then you water, and then it grows, and eventually it gets to its final stage, and you can harvest it, and then you can till the land and plant a new seed and keep that cycle going. There are some things. So, for example, we'd mentioned animals. You can get different animals to help you with this process. The way that animals work is completely different. You are not farming animals.
No.
Animals are your helpers.
They are farming, not you, but almost for you.
So cows water your plants. Pigs, I think they till the ground.
They do, and they can act as pickaxes as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how often they do it, but they can expand your farmable land for you, which is nice.
I did come across a chicken once, and I can't remember what it did.
They help you weed. Chickens help weed.
Yeah,
so the weeds actually grow very, very fast in this world.
Yeah. So fast.
Maybe that's because everything's just radioactive and everything's alive. I don't know. But like,
we'll go with
weeds are very, very annoying, and chickens help a lot with that. I forgot. There are tractors. Have you?
I hadn't come across a tractor.
Okay. Tractors are interesting. There are items that you can find while exploring, and you can only hold one at a time. But you essentially press a key and then point them in the right direction, and then it will just like go forth and do what it's supposed to do. And it's a one-time use. It's a charged use, so you have to wait for it's charged up before you can use it. There are some like items that let you skip around that, or go like help increase the charging or what have you. And there's a couple different types of tractors. There's ones I think that only it's like a weed whacker, so it'll just focus on weeds. I think there's one that fertilizes, one that waters, one that gives you like 2 minutes of immunity, and one that I think does damage. So the Megatron. I've only actually found the Megatron once and never got around to using it because I forgot that I had it. But those, I think, are all the mechanics of farming. The way to get animals is interesting because you have to go find them and then free them.
Yeah. So it works the same way. So you start off with 4 potato seeds, and you can get some things in the town, but like early game, you can't afford much.
No.
Early run, you can't afford much. So you have to go out and basically there are like enemy encampments.
Yep.
And you have to there are like certain enemies you have to defeat, and once you've defeated them, either there's like a plant that spits out seeds at you, or there's like 2 boxes or 2 cages with some either upgrade or animal or something in it. So yeah, you're like finding a cow in a cage basically and setting it free.
Yeah, and it's like you have to choose which one you get. So it's always a choice of what to acquire from these
and it does tell you what they do, which is nice. You're not choosing blind.
But you have to choose quickly. You can't just sit there and like dawdle and like it's like you're always constantly like on edge because someone's always attacking you.
Yeah.
So you have to
make
a split
fast.
second. Yeah. Time is the number one factor in this game and how you decide to use it. Since everything is so short, it's a very fast-paced game. Let's see what else. There is a way to make mega crops. Did you?
Right. I know there's trees that like take up more space than they.
You could also make a mega tree.
Oh goodness.
So it's a similar mechanic to Stardew that you lay your crops in a 2x2 plot.
Oh right, yeah.
And then you have to fertilize it.
And then sometimes it makes a big one. Right.
Not so. Some of them automatically do it. Like I think roses and sunflowers automatically become a mega crop, but you have to fertilize everything else in order for it to become a mega crop.
Right.
And I guess we haven't talked about fertilizers yet.
Yeah, fertilizer's pretty simple though. I think basically you get fertilizer from defeating enemies, then it speeds up the process.
That took a while for me to realize that the little bug meat icons on the bottom meant it was fertilizer. Like I don't think I realized that until like halfway through the 13 hours that I was playing this game for. Like, oh, that's what that is. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's, again, I think it is explained in the tutorial, but not very well. I don't think it
No.
explains where you get it from, but it does
No, it
explain how
doesn't.
to use it.
It does, yeah, it does tell you how to use it, like which like buttons or controls to do it for. But I don't. Did they ever tell you can make a mega crap from the tutorial
No.
or?
No, I had no idea that.
Yeah, like the main ways to get money in this game are the mega crops that you can make, and also sunflowers. So if you have 4 sunflower seeds together and you make a mega crop with it and use 50 fertilizers, you get 1,500 cashews, which is the currency.
Oh my word!
I
That's
know.
insane.
It is a game changer, especially early on, because you actually do find like once you get those sunflowers, it comes a time where you're not worried as much about money, which was mind-boggling when I first started out. Like, I'm poor all the time.
We've kind of pigeon scrolls. I forgot about them. We've kind of talked about most of the exploration.
Mm-hmm.
There's some areas that you can't get to initially, and you have to buy
Mm-hmm.
bridge repair kits.
Mm-hmm. So
do you want to talk about the pigeon scrolls then?
Yeah, I do want to like go over the areas like just real quick. There are 4 different biomes, and you get different seeds in each biome. And the seeds, I think, operate differently. So deserts require more water but grow quicker. Jungle ones, I think, require less water but grow slower, etc. Or grow faster.
Oh.
I forget which one. And then there are 2 levels of each of these biomes. So you have like tier 1 and tier 2. And the only ones you can access for free starting out are the ones on the left and right. So the desert and jungle, the ones on the top, which I always forget what the top one is, and then the one on the bottom is tundra. You need the bridge to get there.
Is
so
the top not the tundra one?
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Then I don't... What is the bottom?
I never went to the bottom area, and I'm pretty sure I went.
Oh, I hated the top one because of the snowman. I always did so much worse in that section.
Look, I mean, I just did badly no matter what I did, right? I was bad at this game.
Mm-hmm. But
just in case that hasn't been clear, I am not good at this game.
Tier 2 is awful. It is like, I don't think it's, I would say it's, do not go to tier 2 of any of these biomes until at least year 2.
Ever. Just
like,
don't do it.
It's not worth it. Like, you need to upgrade your weapons a lot because they are just tanks. They will just annihilate you. They will overwhelm you very, very quickly. So beware. There are a lot of goodies, I think, in the tier 2s that I haven't really explored because I haven't done a lot of that yet. But the ways to get perma upgrades are blocked behind bridge upgrades. So areas that you need a bridge for are where you would look for perma upgrades. I'm getting ahead of myself. But going back to pigeon scrolls. Pigeon scrolls are very cute. They're just like little pigeons that sit on the right of your screen that hold scrolls. It's exactly as what they sound. And they're one-time use only item that will help you with farming for the most part. So one lets you water your crops, one fertilizes all your crops, one expands and tills all your crops, your land. And I'm forgetting. I think those are the main ones. There's like 3 types, and those are the 3 types. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're useful. Very useful.
I will say a tip that I learned was to save the pigeon scrolls until the end of the year. Because the last
Where
boss...
was this information last week, Bev?
I learned this all, within the past few days. Okay. I just beat year 2, I think, yes. I beat year 1 yesterday, and I beat year 2 today.
Excuses.
So you're going to have a total of... was it spring, summer, fall, winter? 5 bosses in this game. You have 1 for each season, and then you have what's called a nuclear winter, which is essentially the final boss that just appears right after, the day after you finish the winter boss. And the only way you can damage that boss is by harvesting crops, which is awful. It is it it is a very, very interesting idea because it forces you to actually use all your farming skills that you learned throughout the year. But like, it's hard because the bosses get harder as you move forward. And this one likes to set fire to your crops. So if you don't have a way to water them with like a water scroll,
what?
Or have a lot of cows at your disposal, all your crops are going to burn.
You're not encouraging me to play this game after.
I'm just giving you all the facts. Like, you don't want to play this game anymore, and I'm telling you
I don't.
why.
We've already gone over that.
I'm validating your reason for not wanting to play anymore.
I'm sure. I know that there are some people that absolutely love this game, and I'm so happy for them. All right. Upgrades, I guess.
Yes. Do you want to cover that?
Kind of first upgrade is your guns. You can get better guns. So you get started with like this kind of simple gun that does the job, but it's obviously not very powerful.
Yep.
You can get more powerful ones, but they all get destroyed so quickly.
I know.
Oh, so I spent most of my money after the first day on a great gun, and then after one day it says most guns break after a day or two of use. Boom, guns gone, and you're like, what? I just spent all of my money on this.
I know. Every gun breaks after the first day unless you have a skill that gives you a higher chance for repairing it. So no matter what, it's going to break. It's just a matter of if you have a way to repair it. So there's, we'll get to this later, but there's one character that helps starting off with that. And there's, I think, a perma upgrade that gives you like a plus 1% chance of like repairing it. I don't know. It's not a lot.
And the thing is, you can't even guarantee you'll be able to buy that gun again the next day because there will be different guns on sale.
Yep.
There are like 2 guns on sale.
Yep.
I don't know whether you can upgrade that later, but there are 2 guns on sale and they're going to be random.
Yeah.
And some of them are good and some of them are dreadful.
Yep.
I really
don't
funny.
like that.
Like there's one which is literally you shoot squirrels.
Oh my goodness, I love the squirrel one. It's so cute.
It is, but it's also dreadful, right? Because
it's not very accurate.
It's so hard to control.
Yep, it is. I really don't like the mechanic that they only give you a pool of to 2 because like those guns are like your saving grace, and you really have to decide where you go, like which areas you explore based off of the type of gun that you have.
And you can't just go, oh, there's not a good gun, that's fine, I'll just wait a day, because you only have 12 days in the year before you have to actually be good at the game.
Yep.
You know, and after 3 days you have a boss. You need to have a good gun. Just, oh my word.
Oh, I guess we never went over like the heart mechanic.
Oh, it's because it's utterly dreadful.
It is. It's utterly dreadful. Do you want to go over that?
Okay, so you start off with, I think, is it 6 or is it 8 hearts or something?
I think it's
like
6.
Any damage takes away a whole heart.
Yep.
And the only way to recover hearts, there is no sleeping in this game to recover hearts. The only way to recover hearts is you have to plant heart seeds, and it grows a heart plant, and once you harvest it, you gain that back.
Yep.
And like most of the time, I maybe like through my runs, even the ones where I got to fall, I maybe got like 3 heart seeds. I'm sure you've managed to figure out a way to min-max it. I'm sure you have. I don't care to Google all that information.
No, it's a lot.
Do the perfect strategy.
I don't know who drops it. So I know certain, I think like monsters drop certain things. But I don't know that to that level. But that's the only way to. One of the ways is exploration, flirting, which is like the whatchamacallit, the romance aspect of this game through roses.
If you can call it that.
If you can call it that. Some of them will give you heartbeat seeds. You can buy it from like this techno person, like this little alien researcher, I think. But that gets very expensive.
They're quite
very
expensive,
quickly.
I think. Yeah.
So there isn't really a great way to farm it, unfortunately, because I think once you clear out the camps, there's really no way to farm it further. Like I think there's a couple skills that give you a higher chance of drops. So that might be a way to get around it.
Just don't get hurt.
Yeah, don't get like the best advice I can give you is don't get hit. Like you can get distracted very, very easily trying to farm or trying to run around and look at things. Just Don't run into the bullets. Don't run. I've told myself this many, many times. Don't run into the bullets.
My problem was like I would occasionally like you just walk somewhere and like suddenly there's a swarm.
Yep.
And that's it. You've lost
Yep.
4
Yep.
hearts
Yep.
without. You can't do anything.
Nope.
It's too bad.
You gotta run away.
Can't shoot
run
them
away.
all. And they're faster than you unless you shoot them, though.
I know. It's a lot.
I don't think we've done a podcast yet where I've hated it more at the end than at the beginning of the podcast. But I feel like that's where we're going with this.
I'm glad I'm helping you to this path, this journey. I'm glad I'm on this with you. Because I did not. I wouldn't say I love this game. I wouldn't say that, but I think I do like it. But it took a while for me to do that because it was a learning curve for me, and I would not have liked it if I can just continue to die and never like got past the seasons.
Yeah.
Because there's
let's go through the rest of the mechanics and then we'll conclude on our final feelings once we've done that. So
valid.
Guns, there's bridge repair kits, as we've said, to get new areas.
Mm-hmm.
There's the relationship stuff, as you said. You kind of you grow these roses and you use them to flirt with the other characters, which give you perma upgrades, but then also you can play as them, which have different perks for the game as well. It's very weird because you're a character who's flirting with other characters who then you play as those characters, and then it's all very weird.
Wait, I don't think I realized that you play as them.
Would you not play as it, or is it play as different characters? Is it on? Because
It's
it definitely
different
when you flirt with it's different characters.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm so confused. Right, it's different. So you flirt with someone to unlock a character, but it's not the character you flirted with. It's a different character. It's not just changing what your character is. It's literally a different character. That's the confusing thing about
it. It is, and I wouldn't say there is a way to unlock more characters to flirt with, but they're I think static between the years. So it's always going to be the same. I think it's 3 within year 1 that comes up, 3 or 2 that are flirting options, and you move very quickly through that relationship because it's so costly to flirt with them, I suppose. And they do give you upgrades. Like they can give you like stat upgrades. They can give you skills. They can give you items, but they're not permanent because they don't follow you through between runs. But they will help you with that specific run. And I was able to marry one once and had a spouse, and that person just followed me everywhere and like tilled my land for me, and it was wonderful. And I only managed to do it once. But I want to do it again. Yeah. I will say that the characters so there's the characters that you can flirt with, and then there's characters that you can play. And those you see from the start menu, like where your original farmhouse is. You starting off, you only get the one character, which I forget what their name is. But the different starting off characters give you different perks. So the first one that you start off with gives you 2 bees automatically, which helps a lot with farming in the beginning.
2 bees.
2 bees. The second person that you unlock, and I forget how you unlock it, gives you a turret to start off with, which is a standalone machine that will shoot for you on your farm, which is very handy to have a couple of them because they will keep you alive. And it also gives you a 50% chance to repair your gun at the start of a new day. So that was
okay. That's
yeah.
Okay.
So that was how I got through year 1, was using that person, because having that turret from the beginning,
right. Interesting,
and then having that 50% repair chance saved me a lot of money because I could just continue to upgrade them throughout the days if it didn't break. And there's another one that I just unlocked, and that one just makes everything faster, and it gives you something else. Oh, you start off with a drone. So a drone is kind of like a turret, but it just follows you around. So it's just a little thing that hovers around your head that it will occasionally shoot little monsters away from you.
It's a portable turret.
Mm-hmm.
Handy.
Yeah, and having that increased speed, movement speed, is helpful. So some of the different characters have perks like that. And the way to do permanent upgrades is to unlock ant builders, which, like I said earlier, you can only find behind a bridge. And what they do is that you'll find them and you'll save them, I think. I don't really know if you just, like, come across them. I've only found one. I don't know if you just find them and then they come follow you, or if you have to beat the camp to save them. But either way, once you unlock them, they will appear at your farmhouse at the start of every new run, and you can purchase upgrades from... you can purchase perma upgrades from them using cornucopias, which is the only currency that stays with you forever.
I mean, I didn't have it. I didn't get any of them, so.
Yeah. It's based off of, like, how well you harvest throughout that year. So the Meier is the one who gives you the cornucopias.
All right.
But yeah, I think that's everything. Some achievements will also give you perma upgrades. So, like, I unlocked 3 different achievements and got, like, 0.5% luck.
Yeah. There's a few different. All right. Okay.
You're so defeated.
I'll do my conclusion first because it'll probably be shorter than yours. I don't think I hated this game. It's not my kind of game, right? I mean that's clear. I think that's obvious. As you've said, like, things are not explained well, and that's fine if that's what you like. I don't like. I think that I like a roguelike or a roguelite for, like, platforming games, that sort of stuff. So, like, I don't think I like it for like, farming games for me are about building up your base and about the calmness of it. It's about, this is a farming game, right? This isn't a farming game. This is a combat game that happens to have farming in it.
Yep.
And even if I never feel like there's any real progression, right? There is progression. I get that. I'm not saying there's none, but it doesn't really feel like there's anything. It's like, oh yeah, cool. You can expand your farm a bit, and you can get some weapons, and you can get some animals, right? And then I die, and they're all gone.
Yep.
Right. Like, I never really feel like I'm building anything up. I don't like that.
No.
Whereas I think like a platforming game or something like, Hades or whatever, these games are about a combat or a platforming or something like that. Like, they're about finishing a story almost, right? Whereas even in here, there isn't really a story either. It's just about doing the same thing, but doing it better and then doing it at a different period. And yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I know that some people do. What's your final thoughts on it then?
I don't know. Like, I'm very conflicted. Like now that I've seen progress, that I can say, like, look at my screen and see, like, the perma upgrades that I have and like making it to year 3. It makes me feel better for having gotten there. But will I play this again? Maybe, but it will be out of a compulsion to complete things. It will be like, this game doesn't, like, you're right in that it doesn't feel like you're getting anything out of it. Like, I literally just feel like I'm checking boxes. Like, I have another achievement that I need to work on. Like, and once I get that achievement, then I have something to show, or I've made progress because I've made that specific achievement.
And it's not even like, Animal Crossing could be described like how you've just described the game, but you are building, you're making your own, like, this is where you want to build. You want to build stuff up, right? Sure, there's no, like, overarching story, and you're just kind of doing things, but you do what you want. Whereas here, you're still not building anything up. Like, it's not really a thing.
Yeah, and I could say, like, there's an excitement to starting over, just doing new things. Like, I started my Animal Crossing island over a few months ago, and that was so excited. It was the only thing that brought me back into this game after a year of, like, almost, well, maybe it wasn't a year. Almost, well, okay, maybe a year of almost not playing it. But just not getting to see any progression between the years unless you unlock a specific thing. And even then, it's like a plus 1% increase in one stat. It's just, and like, it maybe would feel different too if it just wasn't so chaotic and stressful to get through. Like if it was
Yeah.
just like you need to build up your farm between like this very very short year and complete the community center within that time frame, and that's your your winning condition is completing that. Maybe it would feel different if it wasn't this stressful. Because
Yeah.
I've played year 2, I've completed year 2, and that was so much worse than year 1. Like it was so much harder. Everything was attacking me and attacking me faster. Some things that wouldn't shoot bullets were now shooting bullets at me. So it was like
Oh,
I had to
joy.
relearn different like monsters and how they and their attack patterns. And it's just, I don't know. So part of me wants to go back and see like just how far I can get in it, but it would be out of that compulsion to check all those boxes to say like I've
Yeah.
hit a lot of these achievements. You know.
Yeah. Totally get that.
Mm-hmm. And I
Totally get
know I will get enjoyment once I got those achievements, I think. But I can have immediate gratification playing an actual farming game.
I think that's the thing. Yeah, I don't. Even if I enjoyed this in some way, I don't think I would prefer to play it over anything else.
No. Like I will say I think something like this allows you to come back at some other time and pick it up kind of like off
Yeah, it does. It does have a one advantage in that, like, you can do like a year pretty quickly if you're good at the game.
Yeah.
Right. So you can go and like, oh, I've got half an hour. I'll go do a year.
Yeah.
Right. That's fine. It's not what I'm looking for really, though. Like, and farming games have that where you can go in and play a day. Right.
Yeah.
Like they already have that aspect.
So I don't know. Honestly, I could see me coming back because I've done a lot of reading on it, so I feel like it's all in my head right now. But I know I'll get less stressed out with other games.
Well, thank you for joining to chat to me about that game. We were not looking forward to it.
No.
I certainly personally I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to.
Yes, definitely. I could definitely say the same.
But maybe that's not the praise that game developers want. I didn't hate your game as much as I thought I would hate it.
It's not a farming game. And
yeah, it's not what we want from a game. Right? It doesn't give you that calm. We want something which is calm and where you're building up and you're creating this larger.
Yeah, exactly that. And like, I will say that after upgrading, like I only have the one ant builder, and I've upgraded that like 4 times now, and I've seen a farmhouse appear out of nowhere, and I've seen that started to like get cleaned up and get upgraded as I upgraded the ant builder. So there is a way to see progress on your home screen. It's just going to take a while to get there. It's a delayed gratification, which is not what I want from a farming game.
No, it's not.
Like, I feel like I play farming games when I am stressed out to calm down, and this is not.
Yeah.
No.
Well, listeners, if that sounds like something you would like to do, then you can go get the game. If you want.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me. Where can people find you on the internet, Bev?
My handle on most platforms is Bev Granger 711. So BEVGRANGER 711. So I'm like on Instagram, although I don't really use that on Twitter. I've been streaming lately, like on Twitch. So I actually was streaming some Atomicrops. So if you want to go see me scream, you can watch me play Atomicrops. So that's where you can find me.
Cool. You can find me on Twitter at @thescottbot. You can find the podcast on Twitter at THSpod. You can email us from our website, harvestseason.club. Also on the website, you can find links to everything that we have, including our Patreon, where we have an exclusive patron-only podcast called The Greenhouse. In next week's episode of The Greenhouse, we are talking about Pokemon cards.
Yes, very good.
And I accidentally make Bev want to buy lots of stuff.
Yep, Yep, that's the nature of Pokemon cards for me.
um, yeah, I think that's everything.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Bev, again.
Thank you for having me.
And until next time, have
Have
a
a good
good
harvest.
harvest.
The Harvest Season is created by Rochelle Delaney and Al McKinley, with support from our pro farmer level patrons, Kevin and Stuart. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. Thanks for listening.
I am located. I am pretty much. I am located on the